Welcome to episode number 9 of the 7-Minute Cardologer here with me, Helmar. Nice to have you back. In this episode, we'll be talking about the karma cards and the context, and we'll be summarizing the first 8 episodes because we've come to some kind of an end and a conclusion, which is actually quite befitting the number 9, which is all about endings and letting go and preparing ourselves for a new cycle, a manifestation cycle where man has placed himself in front of God, the 1 in front of the 0. All right. So over the couple of days, we have learned that we have 2 spreads, a spiritual spread and a mundane spread, that the mundane spread has been calculated from the spiritual spread through the process of quadration. We have learned that we have a birth card, and the birth card has given us a certain position in the spiritual spread, our true place, and in this incarnation, a place in the mundane spread, which has already created some dynamics between those 2 spreads, right? Because they differ from each other. And then we have learned that we have, based on our birth card, counting to the left and down, we have 7 planetary cards. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Each of those planets have been given certain qualities. Those qualities are not haphazard. They have been allocated on purpose because everything starts with a mental construct, with thought in life, hence Mercury, and that is being communicated, hence Mercury. That sometimes can change its mind, hence Mercury. Then we've got Venus and Mars. Venus the female side, Mars the male side. Venus the passive side, Mars the active side. Venus the conserving side, Mars the dynamic, aggressive, determined side. If we play those polarities right, the one on the negative with Venus and the one on the positive with Mars, we arrive at Jupiter. And if we play our polarities right, which is, I guess, the aim of this lifetime, then we get rewarded and by Jupiter, and then things expand, because Jupiter is the great benefic. And not just in terms of astrology, the logic of the stars, but also in terms of astronomy, because it has a massive gravitational field and it keeps us safe from asteroids in outer space, because the gravitational field of Jupiter deflects them and spins them away out of harm's way for us. As that expansion cannot go unabated, we have Saturn watching over Jupiter, and Saturn says, oh, we need order and structure, because the order and structure through discipline allows us to create something that we can rely on. And the things that we can rely on, we do not longer have to pay attention to. Just as little as I pay attention to the internet line now, to the camera, to the microphone, because I've set them up in advance. And I also know what I'm saying, because that also is order and structure. And every now and then I look down at my little timer and see if I'm well within time, but yes, I am. So Saturn gives order and structure, and it's absolutely indispensable, because the order and structure, once again, is the stuff that we can rely on, and that the stuff we can rely on eventually becomes subconscious. So we no longer have to rack our brains around it. Wrap our brains and wreck our brains. Wrap and wreck, both. Because we live in a world of abundance, so we can wreck and wrap at the same time. But even Saturn is not the end, because then Uranus comes, and Uranus then breaks up once Saturn in its life cycle has become too rigid, too immovable. And then Uranus brings in new wind, new energy. That's why it is been allocated to substantial changes, to sudden changes, technology, etc., etc. And it's also the first planet outside the 5 visible planets. So it's not a personal planet anymore. It's a planet of friendship, larger things. So now we're starting on in a new era, so to say. And then Neptune comes and says, Uranus, you've broken everything up, sudden changes, cataclysmic events, catastrophes. You've basically destroyed things for the sake of renewal, by the way. And now I, Neptune, come and I heal, I create greater visions. But maybe I confuse you a little bit, maybe sort of have like, nebulous, watery Neptunian energy. Maybe not everything is entirely clear, but we are moving things up. We are creating and healing things from the breakup, okay, of Uranus. And if you look at the year, you also notice that sort of we start with a Mercury period, 7 weeks, and then we end with the 7 weeks of Neptune. So, and towards the end of your year, you will notice that sort of decisions are not entirely clear. But then you wait until your birthday, and on the other side of your birthday, there's Mercury waiting with new clarity, because Mercury rules the mind and thought and communication. So things become much clearer after your birthday, when you are in your new year with new energy. So, when you're in Neptune, postpone those things. That's much safer. Right. So we've got the birth card, the planetary ruler. We've got the 7 planetary cards, which are determined in your mundane spread for your entire life, but also in the subsequent spreads for each individual year. You have a card that you're displacing, and you have a card you're displaced by every year. Remember the magic wheel of episode number 8. And each of the planetary cards obviously also have karma cards, so pay attention to them too. That is very important. And then you know where you're standing, and you can see the year at a glance in those planetary periods. And the nice thing is, it's literally only every 7 weeks, a new card, a new period. And over time, you become more versed, you learn about those things, and you find that you become more powerful, more calm, because you can look into the future. You become more sovereign, you become more grateful, and you become far more empowered compared to before. And that shall conclude the 9th episode here of the 7-Minute Cardologer. Here with me, Helmar. See you in the 10th episode. Ciao, ciao.